Hello there guys, LaserBeast here, and this is a Iron Docks Mythic Plus Season 4 guide. Let's go. So, to get there quickly, take the portal from the guy next to the Ouroboros Flightmaster. It's the Gorgon portal that you want, and then once you get there, fly up to here, past the Grimrail Depot entrance, up towards the Iron Docks entrance. So like Grimrail Depot, this is a quick, simple route, so a couple of tips to speed you up. For trash percentage, I'll show you what you need to kill as if this was from the challenge mode dungeons back in the day. On PTR, each trash mob was given 5% per kill, so that probably isn't right. So either the count isn't an issue in this dungeon really, because you're just going to get it as you go through it normally, or it'll be fixed when this goes live and the count will be different per mob and you'll have to be a bit more careful. But check the comments for any update on that after this actually goes live, and then we can test it properly on the live servers. So in this first room, you don't need to pull big here, but you can if you want to. Take care not to pull the extra packs from the side of the room. So there's some mini bosses in here. The first one is Champion Druna. Now you just need to watch out for the flaming patches that she's going to call down onto the floor. Just step out of those and try and avoid the barbed arrow barrages that you'll definitely take some damage from, but just nuke her down as quick as possible and use defensives where you need to. The second mini boss is called Siegemaster Nok'gar. Now just watch that you don't pull him at the same time as Champion Druna, as they do patrol quite close together. You just need to dodge the Gatecrasher ability, which is where he's going to throw his weapon at someone and it'll do some AoE damage, so try and dodge that. And also try and avoid his Shattering Strike ability that he'll cast at the tank, but it will also hit anyone in melee range, so just don't stack with the tank. There's also a third mini boss in this room that you're probably not going to pull as part of your count, but he's called Pit Warden Granok, and if you do engage him, just watch out for his Blade Storm ability, and he will also chain drag a player towards him into melee range, so just move back out when you need to. So on to the first boss. Now this is called Fleshrender Nok'gar, and he starts off mounted on his mount called Dreadfang, so it's easy to begin with. Dreadfang's just going to basically do melee damage, so when he gets to 50% health, Nok'gar will jump off, so your tank needs to taunt him straight away. This is where the fight can get pretty hectic, so it's a good time to use Heroism or Bloodlust and pop all your cooldowns. Nok'gar will call down Burning Arrows to leave patches on the ground, so just move out of those. Watch out for Nok'gar casting Reckless Propagation as well, this is quite important. When he casts this ability, do not hit him after the cast has gone off, otherwise you will be feared, meaning you're going to take a lot of damage from the fire arrows and you won't be able to DPS or heal, so it's quite deadly. The priority is to nuke down Dreadfang first. He's going to cast two abilities, one called Savage Mauling, where he's going to leap at a random player, damage them and reduce their movement speed by 45%, making it harder to dodge the arrows. And he's also going to cast Shredding Swipe, which is a melee AoE that will cast around him, so don't stand near him. Once Dreadfang is down, just focus on finishing off Nok'gar and then the fight's done. So next you'll have the two big Ogron trash mobs. It's best to not kill these the old fashioned way, as they're going to take ages to kill. They're not that threatening, but they just got a lot of health, so pull them over to the first Iron Star and have a DPS jump in and kill them with that, take them both out at the same time. Use the two other Iron Stars to kill the trash leading to the next section, but make sure to keep right still as you move down, to avoid pulling anything else. You shouldn't need to kill this patrolling pack as part of your count for the dungeon. Now the next bit is absolute key to avoid the barrages cast from the boat across the way. You need to very quickly get into position behind the crates and take on the two packs of mobs. So wait for the barrage to pause, you'll hear some dialogue where he says he's reloading or something. Just run past at that point. You can mount up for this, so make sure you do, or use a quick movement speed ability to get behind safety. If you get caught in the barrage, it will kill you. Now the mobs in these two packs do cast some annoying AoE abilities, so it can get quite tight for space, so what you might want to do is make use of two cover areas, maybe have your melee in one fighting the mobs and have your range and your healer in another safe spot. This will also become more crucial on weeks where there's quite punishing AoE affixes such as Sanguine or Storming for example. Focus on the Chainmasters in these packs as they cast a Warcry, buffing the other mobs in the pack, so get them down first to make the packs easy to deal with. Then we have the second boss, the Grimrail Enforcers. Now the ideal kill order here is the Caster Ariok, and then Makok Emberblade, and then the Goblin Nina Nox. The most important mechanic to be aware of and to deal with is Ariok. He will put a Sanguine Sphere on the boss with the lowest health at any given time, so that will be himself if you follow the ideal kill order. So when he does this, do not damage him until the buff falls off, because if the shield bursts, it's going to heal each of the bosses for 15% of the max health, which can be very punishing on tyrannical weeks for example, and set you back quite a lot. So when he casts this, just swap DPS to a different boss. So you're going to want to tank Ariok and Makok together. The Goblin can't be tanked, so just watch out for her as she moves around. Kick Blood Bolt when you can, which is cast by Ariok, and use Bloodlust and cooldowns at the start of the fight, as this is when it's the hardest when all three bosses are up. The abilities that you need to avoid are the Auger Traps cast by Nina. There's going to be an ad called the Bomb Squad. Eventually he's going to charge at a random player and blow up, dealing AoE damage, so watch out for him doing that. Keep an eye on Makok when he gets a glowing red sword and faces in a random direction. When his sword glows red and fiery, he's going to then charge in the direction he's facing and deal big damage with a flaming slash, so don't be in the path when that goes off. The healer can also dispel Tainted Blood, again cast by Ariok, if possible to reduce a bit of damage to the party. It's going to feel quite hectic at the start when all 3 bosses are up, but just get them down one by one and you'll gradually get an easier time. Now the next packs can be a bit annoying to deal with and they can take a fair bit of time because they're hard to keep stacked to cleave down, the beasts are going to charge away and the orcs are going to disengage, leaping backwards at random times. If you've got sufficient count by here, say for example you cleared a lot of the first room, more than what we said initially, it would be a good idea to shroud skip past these mobs if you've got a rogue, or invispot skip, or alternatively you could even do a death run, so you just have your tank go first and run all the way into the boss's room, and then have everyone die in the boss's room, and you can use a soul stone on the healer or a shaman's ankh or any other effect to be able to resurrect everyone in the boss room, skipping the trash. If you do end up killing the trash, just be careful that you don't bait them into charging into the orcs down the ramps near the water, because you're definitely not going to need those for the count. And when you get to the mini boss, he's got the exact same ability set as the mini boss before the first boss, Siege Master Oligar, so there's going to be heavy tank damage, and just watch out again for the melee cleave and AoE abilities. So on to the third boss, which is Oshir. So this is possibly the easiest boss in the dungeon. You just need to watch out for him pouncing on a random player and casting Time to Feed. This can be negated by casting an immunity on the player, such as Bop or Ice Block, and if you can't immune this, you just need to DPS the boss hard, as once he's taken 8% of his health in damage, or 20 seconds have passed, he will stop his feeding frenzy. Don't stand in front of him when he casts Primal Assault, because it deals heavy damage in front of him in a cone. Eventually the boss is going to leap to a cage and release some adds, so the first off it'll be wolves. When these guys are stacked up, they're going to gain a 20% damage buff, but it is a good idea to keep them grouped on the boss so they can be AoE down as fast as possible. You can be slowed or stunned if needed, but you may want to save your stuns for the next add. So when he releases the Rylak Sky Terror, you can either get this guy in a long CC and just keep him CC for the rest of the fight, or you can make use of your stuns and your kicks and make sure you kick Acid Spit, just so he's not putting pools of damage and stuff on the floor, making things harder to avoid. Oshir doesn't really do anything more special than that during the fight, so just finish these adds off and then take Oshir down. Then on to the final boss, which is Skulloc. So Skulloc has 2 mini boss guys with him, just tank them together at all times and taunt Zorgosh when he comes out of his cannon. At the start of the fight, use Bloodlust on your cooldowns and try and kill Koromar before Skulloc casts the first cannon barrage. This is so you don't have to deal with Koromar during the cannon barrage, and if you don't kill him before it, what he's going to do is chase your group down and cast AoE abilities such as Whirlwind, which is going to make just dealing with the cannon barrage a bit more difficult. At the start of the fight, while Zorgosh is in the cannon, try and avoid his rapid fire attacks. This is going to target someone and it's going to do damage in a line towards that target, so do not stand between him and the player he's currently shooting it at. So for Cannon Barrage, you're going to get knocked back to the start of the ship, so use the cover provided to avoid the damage. It is deadly, so play it safe here. Use speed boost abilities to get to the boss quick as possible, and then the first person that engages him, he will target, making him stop his Cannon Barrage casts. So be careful if you make it there first and you knock the tank, because you could take some heavy damage and could even die. Do not try and be a hero here. I've seen so many people try and run straight up to him and not make it, resulting in a death and sometimes even a wipe, so just get there safe and make sure you get your run completed. I couldn't test this dungeon on the PTR as a keystone, as they had removed the keystone vendor unfortunately, so this footage is just from time walking, but you can see here is a druid tank using use of sprint and then feral charge. I was able to engage the boss just in time before he got another cast off, but it was risky. I probably wouldn't have done this if this was in an actual key. So there we go guys, that's the Iron Docks guide complete. I hope you enjoyed that. If you need guides for any other Season 4 Mythic Plus dungeons that are in the pool, then I've got some Lower Karazhan, Upper Karazhan and Grimrail Depot guides, and I'm probably going to be doing Mechagon as well coming soon. So if you've enjoyed the video, please do leave a like, and consider subscribing for more guides like this all about World of Warcraft. And thanks very much for watching guys, I've been LazyBeast and I'll catch you next time. Cheers!